I should be like you, Mel.
Ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Good morning, Cherries fans, and welcome back to Cherry AM. It's Monday, the 16th of June. It's 8 a.m. or it could be p.m. if you're in Australia. I suppose Paul from Oz is normally about 5 p.m. now if you're tuning in. So good evening to you. Of course, joined by Ollie Hudson as always. How are we doing, Ollie?
Yeah, fantastic, Matt. Thank you. Always a pleasure to be here. How was your weekend?
Yeah, not too bad. And yours?
Yeah, very well. Very well, thanks.
Good. And obviously now we're starting another week of Cherry AMs. Craig will be back tomorrow with Ollie. He's travelling today, so he's unable to be with us. But I'm sure he'll probably pop up in the chat at some point. We've got quite a bumper list to get through this morning, so we will get started very shortly. But we'll just say a quick hello to those in the chat. Paul, good morning, everyone. Paul, we hope you're well. Hope you've had a good weekend. And of course, Malcolm, good morning, everyone. Hope you are well. Good to see you as always, Malcolm. And like I just mentioned, Paul from Oz, hope you're well, Paul. And yet 5 p.m. there in Australia. And Dan Short back with us. Morning, transfer window opens up again today. Yes, there'll obviously be transfer topics this morning, as always, with this time of year. So yeah, let's just get started then. Last night, the England under-21s played. Again, unfortunately, Alex Scott didn't get off the bench. He was on the bench for last night's 0-0 draw with Slovenia. But they're in control of the group. They got 4 points and they played Germany on Wednesday evening, I think it is. So yeah, we will keep following their progress, and we'll see if Alex Scott makes an appearance against the Germans on Wednesday evening. But Ollie, it's been a big old weekend with the transfer talk and everything, hasn't it? We've had a lot of sort of updates and I suppose knee-jerk reactions here and there. Let's start off with one that's, again, a player that you can't be surprised that's put himself in the shop window, but there's some attraction for Justin Kluivert, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. I think you're spot on with the sentence knee-jerk reaction, right? There seems to be a lot of speculation that goes around, and the minute, I don't know, maybe a set of fans or a news outlet or some kind of media source jumps on something or hears something, there's an explosion, a flurry of speculation, and everyone seems to think that we're buying these people and selling these people, and it's so untransparent with what is actually happening. So just to give a little bit of clarity, there has been some interest in Kluivert over the weekend. Well, has been for the last month, 6 weeks or so, but specifically over the weekend from Bayer Leverkusen. I think the intent there is to replace Florian Wirtz, who has just agreed the deal to go to Liverpool. That would be my logic. Is a 1-for-1 there. Now look, we're not looking to sell Kluivert in any way, shape, or form. He isn't interested in leaving. We're not interested in selling. However, it has been stated that Bill Foley will sell for the right price. So if Leverkusen throw in a big fat 50 million, who knows? They could be opening up some doors for themselves there. But I mean, Bayer Leverkusen weren't the only club that Kluivert was linked to anyway.
No.
There was interest from Newcastle, Arsenal, and Man United back in the end of April. I think Villarreal even made an offer, which was way too low. It was only 15 million at the start of May, but I think we even said to them that we'd let Kluivert go to you guys for 32 plus, but they weren't interested in paying anything more than 25. So I don't think Justin Kluivert will go to clear up some speculation, but I think for the right price, we wouldn't say no.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair enough point. I personally don't want to see him go at all. Obviously, like we said before, we don't want to see any of the players go, but yeah, Kluivert really is a personal favourite of mine, so I really don't want to see him go. But do you think that is an attractive proposition for him to go to Bayern Leverkusen? Obviously, their manager Alonso has now joined Real Madrid. I'm not too sure who their new manager is, to be honest. But do you think it's an attractive project for Kluivert, or do you think he's better off staying in the Premier League with the impact he has made at Bournemouth?
I think, given Kluivert's previous club history, I guess is the best way to say it. He's been in Europe, hasn't he? Right? He's played for other teams in other countries. He's wanted to get to the Premier League, and now that he's in the Premier League, I can't see him going out of the Premier League. Even for a top club, even for a club that's winning trophies or that's at the top of their league or the top of their country, I just can't see it happening. He's bought into the club's vision now as well.
Yes.
He's one and part of AFC Bournemouth, and I think it'd be tough for him to get an offer and for him to consider leaving at this stage.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think really he's in, the Premier League is for him. I think now he has achieved, he's scored in all 5 major European leagues. I think he's one of only 2 people to have done that, I think. Quote me in the chat if I'm wrong. So, yeah, I don't see what that move does for his career personally. I agree with you. I think if he was to move, I think he would be better off staying in the Premier League. And like you said, there has been interest with United and Newcastle in the past. But
he has also just re-signed his contract, so he's technically staying with us now till 2028. So it'd be again, there is no interest, and there was no thought process or funneling for him to go anywhere other than Bournemouth, as we can tell from the signing of the contract.
Yes.
And
I think he's brought into the project as well. That was key, what you said there a few moments
100%.
ago. I think that's very, very key that he's brought into the project, the vision. I think he really does see and wants to be part of the future project.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. He looks like a Bournemouth player, right? He fits into the squad. He is he's a talking unit on the pitch. People listen to him. What's he had this season? Off the top of my head, eight assists, 13 goals, I think.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah,
Hat-trick against Newcastle in January. He's gonna be wanted, right? He's gonna be wanted, and I think decisions like this come down to the player themselves, and it comes down to the player, as we've just said, either being bought in to the team or having an over-exceeded plan that they want to get to, and I don't think that is what Kluivert's got. So, Kluivert being at Bournemouth, I think he will stay.
Yeah, no, cool. And Malcolm has just said there Ten Hag. So Ten Hag, yeah. Now I do remember seeing that he's gone to Bayer Leverkusen. Malcolm also has just popped a comment there. Would be a step backwards if we went to Bundesliga. Well, if he went to Bundesliga, should I say there? Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, echo that. I think you're right there, Malcolm. So we've got some other transfer bits we'll discuss about. We'll just come away for transfers just for a moment, and we've got the Gold Cup coming up, where we've got 3 squad members representing their countries this summer in the Gold Cup, which I think has started, hasn't it? I think, or is starting. But we've got obviously Tyler Adams and a couple of others out there, haven't we?
Yes, and Arajo.
Yes.
Who else is
Yeah.
in there? Yeah.
And Jefferson, I believe.
And Jefferson, yeah. So what's that? USA, England, and Canada. Sorry, USA, Canada, and an African country. I can't remember.
Yes. Sorry. I was just reading there. Sorry, what did you say? Sorry, Ollie.
I'm just trying to figure out where's Arajo from. Julian Arajo.
Mexico.
Mexico.
Yes, he's representing.
So 3 players in the Gold Cup, all representing 3 different teams. I'm not sure. What's the layout of the Gold Cup, Matt? How much do you know about this?
I don't know a great deal of it, but I was just looking up this morning the Gold Cup. Where is it? I was looking up. Where are we? I had it here this morning. Gold Cup. Yeah, so Mexico played last night. They won 3-2. So yeah, it started yesterday. Yep. So looking at it, did he play? Did we know who played? Mexico. No, he was on the bench. And didn't get on by the looks of it. So yeah, so they started yesterday. So yeah, I think is it kind of like, I mean, do jot it in the comments if you know, but is it kind of similar to kind of like our Euros? I know like Trinidad and Tobago compete in it, Dominican Republic, obviously United States, Canada. So I think it's kind of like a Euros vibe. They're kind of equivalent to the Euros.
Well, before the Americas.
Oh, and then you've got that as well. Yeah, do you know what? I don't actually know much about it. The Gold Cup, to be fair.
No.
But yeah,
maybe we'll do an episode on it. Maybe I'll do a bit of research this week, and we can have a little a discussion on Thursday or Friday with it. Yeah.
Yeah, we can have a look later on in the week. But it looks like it's starting to develop. Yeah, so United States have played. Saudi Arabia are also in it.
Oh well, then that shoots my ideas.
Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna have to look into this. We'll cover some more of this throughout the week. I'm sure yourself and Craig will touch on it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Throughout the week, but yeah, that's starting, and obviously, like I say, there's some Bournemouth representatives there as well. So always worth keeping an eye out for them. Yeah, Mexico. Yeah, cheers, Malcolm. And Paul. Talk here of Semenyo to Spurs. Yeah, that's more talk. That's again another player that's been linked to I think just about every top 6 club. Ollie, I mean, can we see anything materialise in there? Do you think with Semenyo going to Spurs? I mean, I can't see that one. I don't think personally, but who knows? No. It's funny old games, as they say.
Yeah, look, anything can happen, right? It's football. Football's football. Exactly. Money gets thrown at a situation, people can turn their heads instantly, right? So never say never, but at the same time, I cannot see it this season, Semenyo going anywhere, and especially not to Spurs. Look, all due respect to Spurs fans, and to Solanke, of course, but I cannot see Semenyo, doesn't matter how much money gets thrown at the situation, moving over to a club like Spurs. We're given their Premier League finishing last season, trophy situation, finishing in a final, just everything around it. does not scream Semenyo or progression, unfortunately. And again, I think players that have bought into the club vision and where we've come in the last 2 seasons, that club vision is still very much alive in all the players' minds. So for someone to duck out of that and go to a club that doesn't share that vision would absolutely be a step in the wrong direction. As Malcolm said about Kluivert going to Bundesliga, it'd be exactly the same. It'd be a sideways transition step rather than going forward in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with your point there, Ollie. Paul, really hope he stays. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, an on-form Semenyo is lethal, and not only that, he's very, very important to our attack. So, Paul, Champions League though. Yeah, that's a pull, isn't it, Ollie? I mean, when you look at it, I know, what we was just saying there about Spurs, but, we all know that they've had a dreadful season last year in terms of the league, but they did win the Europa League, gave them that Champions League spot, which, again, is a pull for players to play in the top European competition, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But I just don't. If he's going to go, I see him in an Arsenal shirt or a Man United shirt.
Right.
To me, they're the only 2 places that would turn his head, pay enough money, and he would go and perform. In my opinion, I think it'd suit both of those clubs to a T. But I don't think they see that yet. I don't think that's a something that they've connected on or maybe thought about yet. I mean, Man United obviously put in bids for Semenyo already. Semenyo's not as keen, but yeah, I think if he was going to go, it would be an Arsenal or a United, not a Tottenham.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, good point. So the whole Zaba, what can we call that? The saga, I suppose. Has developed further on. There was more developments yesterday morning, and then some more developments yesterday evening, wasn't there? Before we just touch on that, Ollie, right? Yeah, we don't. Yeah, they are in the Gold Cup. Like I say, Ollie would do some more research on that over the next few days, and we'll keep an eye on the games that the Cherries players are involved in, and cover that a bit more throughout the week. So yes, Zaba. So like I was just saying, some more developments, Ollie. I know you've got some information there that you've looked up, and some news that sort of broke a bit late last night, wasn't it?
Indeed.
Over to you.
So it's you know what, you're spot on with the word saga, right? It's so interesting hearing different opinions, different point of views, seeing fans speak out, seeing clubs speak out, but the only thing that anyone should be listening to is predictive text, Malcolm, is PSG or Bournemouth or Zaba himself. Okay, that's it. Zaba hasn't come out. He's kept pretty quiet about things. However, there has been a couple of posts on his Twitter referring to a move to France. However, last night, officially, it came out that a deal had been agreed in principle for 59 million, with an increase to 63.4 with bonuses and whatnot. Now, Bournemouth have stated and insisted that Zaba wasn't for sale, essentially, unless it was for the right price, right? So, and that right price was over 50 million. I think it was supposed to be 55 last month when we were discussing the offers for 40 and 45 million. It was set at 50, I believe, right? So they've thrown in a 59, and what that's done is that's blown out Chelsea, that's blown out any Tottenham, Man City, Newcastle United were also reportedly looking at him and throwing in some bids. Zaba himself is, again, from what I know on Twitter, reluctant to join PSG purely for playing time, presence on the pitch, presence in the changing rooms. He likes he likes what he's got at Bournemouth at the moment. So I think there is still going to be some agreements that have to be tied off. But in principle, as it stands this morning, Zaba has agreed a deal with PSG.
Right. Yes.
Now, this is going to have to be, again, we're going to have to keep an eye on this. It's going to be probably every day, I would imagine. There'll be updates coming in and out. So every Monday and Friday, if you want to make it that way, it'd be much easier to catch up over the transfer information on the weekend. So I'm happy to do that Mondays and Friday mornings. But yeah, for now, that is about as much as we've got on Zaba. However, there was a few statements thrown around that he is the best centre-back to ever come out of Ukraine.
Yes,
I
that's
think
correct.
I think that's quite an accurate statement.
Yes, yeah, and especially for a player of his age as well to be branded as one of your country's greatest ever players is amazing. Just says a lot, and I think we touched on that last week, didn't we? That that was said, I think, by one of his fellow international players as well. So you can't really get a better compliment than that, really, can you? So fingers crossed that it doesn't materialise. But like you say, we'll keep an eye on it, and any developments, we'll have a discussion and get everyone's views in the chat throughout the week. If anything does develop on that one. We do have a player that's coming back to the club in a goalkeeper, in form of a goalkeeper, which is going to be possibly quite handy. We know the goalkeeping situation, I suppose, is really in a bit up in the air. Kepa's obviously gone back to Chelsea. There's still talks about that, and talks of him going elsewhere, this, that, and the other. So we don't really know what's happening with that one at the minute. But there's also Neto, who's still got a contract to Bournemouth. He's coming back from Arsenal. But then I have read somewhere that there's some links to clubs in Brazil, possibly.
Yep.
And obviously we've got Mark Travers.
We do indeed. Yep.
And we've got our New Zealand international, Paulson, coming back after a fantastic loan spell at Auckland. I think from what I saw on his socials, it sounds like he's looking forward to coming back to Bournemouth and to see what the future holds.
Yes.
I think key for this one for me, Ollie, is and I've seen some footage of him playing out in the Australian League this summer, and you can see he's a class goalkeeper, young age, but I don't think he's the type of player we want just to come back and not really be involved. I think it'd be a bit more beneficial for him to carry on getting game time if he's not going to be part of the first team much next season. So the goalkeeping thing for me is really, really quite up in the air. I think in an ideal world, a lot of people would like to see Kepa sign. I think in an ideal world, I know we're obviously linked to the other Chelsea goalkeeper as well. But I think in an ideal world, a lot of people like to see Kepa sign. But then you've got, Mark Travers, who can be a number one goalkeeper. You've got Neto, whose future, obviously, I'm sure he wants clarification on his future. So at the minute, the goalkeeping department seems quite blessed to a certain degree with talent, but kind of up in the air with what may happen in the future.
Yeah. And again, I want to shed some light on this, especially around the goalkeeper, let's say, situation. Okay. It looks like Kepa or Dordy Petrovic, either one of those could still be an opportunity for loan. Right. We have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know if there's agreements going into place, if there's conversations being had. We just don't know. So what that situation is going to be something that happens one morning or one evening that we come back into a podcast and we go, fantastic, this has happened with the goalkeeper. But until then, what we do know is that currently Paulson is not going back out on loan and is currently training with Bournemouth as of Thursday and Friday, preparing for the season ahead. So take that as you will. But at the moment, there is no plans to send Paulson back out. and he is currently training with our first team. So to me, that is quite strong signs that he's going to be our replacement keeper, third keeper, whatever it looks like. He's going to have a position in the squad at some place. Whether that means game time, minutes on the pitch, who knows? But it looks like he may be starting to solidify himself a bit more in AFCB, which I'm sure you'll agree is fantastic news, really, for him. Being a player that was worth what I think it was worth initially about 800 grand, and since his tenure at Auckland, I think he's gone up to 4.5 mil, which shows how good of a season he's had, and I think has to be prioritised to show that he's a player that can perform. You know, if we send him out and he has a fantastic season, if you go back last week, we did a loanee review on some of the loanees that went out and came back and how well they'd done at Middlesbrough and Sunderland and other places. Paulson's was easily the best loan spell, right, without a doubt. So it'd be interesting to see what effect he has on the team and what impact he has moving forward. Now, in that sense, the unfortunate news is I don't think Mark Travers has a place.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think, from my personal opinion, Travers has come to probably a crossroads where I think he needs to be playing. I do think he needs to be playing.
100%. Yeah, he needs almost what Paulson's just had. He needs to get a real good loan spell under his belt where he can go and perform. He can get 3,000 minutes on the pitch in the season. He can, really hit 30 plus, 40 plus games and put him to the test. I think that you're absolutely right. That's something that he needs.
I really like the goalkeeper. We've spoken about him lots on here, and I just think he's owed that chance. He can be a number one. So I think he could be number one at this football club. I just think, with the way we play, I think they want a goalkeeper that's really good with their feet. But as a goalkeeper, as a shot stopper, I think Mark's a great goalkeeper and deserves the chance to be that. Deserves to be that number one somewhere.
Yeah.
And he could go out on loan again. Does he need some does he need it's I just think he's in a very difficult position. I just think the guy really deserves first team football somewhere. But at the same time, being selfish, you don't want to see him go.
Where would you see him if you had your choice of three teams? Where would you plonk him to give him that season?
If I was to loan him out again,
yeah.
Do you know what? I'd kind of like to see him in the Premier League. Obviously, he wouldn't be able to play against Bournemouth in the Premier League, but I'd like to see him in the Premier League. But I think, if you're a Championship side that's looking for, a promotion chasing season and you're in need of a goalkeeper, he's won the Golden Glove at that level before, and I don't think there's a better goalkeeper out there to go into the Championship, really.
Mate, Ipswich comes to my mind all day long.
Yeah,
all day long.
Yeah. So it's. I don't think we've ever been so blessed with such a talented bunch of goalkeepers. I mean, Neto. I was always a fan of Neto. I was always a fan of Neto. I thought, one of Gary O'Neill's best decisions was making him captain at the time. So I think that made a good impact. I've never been a big fan of goalkeepers being captains, but I thought he made a good impact as captain. I think a lot of the squad did look up to him at the time. But obviously, he's been out on loan at Arsenal. He only played once, and I don't think he played again after a Champions League game. I think he played for Arsenal. So he's not had a lot of football in the last season. So he's going to want, like I say, clarification on his future. I just think from Paulson's perspective, I think if he's going to be back involved in our squad, great. You can see he's a fantastic goalkeeper. But I just think, is it right for his development for him to come in as a third choice goalkeeper or even a second choice goalkeeper? Would it be better for him to carry on and have another season and do what he did last season, or maybe in the Championship? There you go, another keeper that could you see Paulson maybe at an Ipswich? Who knows? Who knows? We definitely need to have depth in the goalkeeping squad. So I think it's got to be, when you look at it from a manager's perspective, it's got to be a very nice headache to have. But at the same time, probably a difficult one to make some decisions on.
Yeah, absolutely. A nice problem to have, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Let's just have a quick look at some of the comments here. Joe, this is all getting a little concerning. Let's hope the recruitment team is on it. We'll come back to that one in a second. We, the fans, are always the last to know about transfers, unfortunately. Keep Kepa for me. Yeah, I agree with, I'd love to have seen Kepa stay. I don't know if that's going to happen, though, but we'll see. Positive step. I think everything's positive at the minute.
Yeah.
Malcolm, to be honest, isn't it? As we discuss quite regular. We want Craig. We want Craig. Yeah, Craig will be back tomorrow, as Malcolm has just said there. Craig is back tomorrow. And you guys are doing an amazing job. Keep going. Thank you very much. Much appreciated for that comment there. Agree, Matt would love to keep Mark Travers. Yeah, again, it's going to be interesting to watch what's going on with goalkeepers. We need depth in goalkeepers. It just takes one injury, and that's absolutely true as well. That's the thing about that must be the most difficult thing about being a goalkeeper, isn't it? Is that you can only literally pick one. So yeah, but at the same time, you do need to have someone in place that's going to be a backup and come in and do the job. And I think that showed a lot of faith in Will Dennis last year for Bournemouth to be able to loan Travers out to give him the game time he required. And they put obviously a lot of trust in Will Dennis to be the backup if anything did happen to Kepa. So again, another goalkeeper, he went out on loan to Kilmarnock, didn't he, a season or so ago, and made a massive impact up there. Another talented goalkeeper that we've got in the squad. So yeah, definitely, like Malcolm says here, certainly a situation to keep an eye on with the goalkeepers. So yeah, we will do. Obviously, we'll discuss things as things develop throughout the summer. But yeah, it's been a bit of a bumper one this morning, Ollie. Craig back tomorrow. You're going to have some topics with Craig to discuss tomorrow.
Yeah, and actually a bit of a different show tomorrow and Wednesday, because I think me and Craig will be together in the same room. So I think we'll be at a hotel in Heathrow doing the podcasts together, interestingly. So
nice. So it's going
to be a different dynamic for the next 2 days.
Different dynamic. Right. Okay. And Thursday as well. You'll both be on Thursday?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, yeah. And then I'm coming back with yourself on Friday, is that right?
You and Craig on Friday, yeah.
Oh, me and Craig on Friday, right.
Indeed it is, yeah.
Right. Well, glad somebody knows what's going on. But just before we do go, just to touch on a couple of shows that have been on the channel of late. And the first one was one that was released by Craig Friday, where he discussed about the changes to the Carabao Cup and just gave his opinion on what he thought with the new preliminary round coming into place for the 4 teams that will be involved in League 2 next season. So yeah, check it out. That's now on the channel. And last week we had a special cherry picking where myself and Johnny Blair got together. We discussed and built a squad of Cherries players, Scottish Cherries players, those players that have represented Scotland over the years. So that was quite an interesting one to do with Johnny. And this Wednesday morning after Cherry AM. Join myself and Malcolm as we look at the Premier League fixtures and look at Bournemouth's opening fixtures. We'll have a look around the traditional busy Christmas period. We'll also have a look at the running as well. So that's the shows that have been on recently, and we've disappeared again because of the gremlins in the system.
Sorry, Matt, just confirm that fixture show is Wednesday morning with you and Malcolm.
So Wednesday at 9 a.m. Yeah. So just before we do go, Joe made this little point here that is a little bit concerning with obviously the players that are all being linked away. I totally agree with the comment there, Ollie. But at the same time, I do look at it from a different angle as well, and having faith in the recruitment department. Look at the great players that we have brought in over the last, several years. They've all been excellent signings. So I see it as a disappointment, but at the same time, excited with what the future holds.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be really important for every Cherry fan, not just me, yourself, and Joe. Feeling concerned and feeling anxious about what's to come is going to be natural, right? I think someone made a comment earlier that we're kept out of transfer information until the day it happens.
Yes.
We don't know it. The recruitment process is the one thing that a fan will not have any input in, will not have any influence on, any information under. We just don't know anything that's going on in that whole process until it happens. So I understand your concern, Joe. I really do. But try and park it for now and have that faith in the recruitment team, because they've pulled it out the last 18 months and 2 years. They've pulled it out. So for now, I share your concern. I share the anxiety, but I've got faith, and so should you.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And yeah, I agree. I just got to stay positive, even though we don't want to see the players go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough time, right? It's a tough time, and all of us are kept in the dark. So who knows? We could. The worst case scenario could be, right, Man United turn around tomorrow and go, here's 150 million. We want 3 of your players. And we go, oh, yeah, go on, here's Semenyo. And anything can happen. Anything in football can happen on its day, right? So it's something that we just have to keep our eye on and keep checking back here for as much information as possible.
Yeah. And like Joe says here, up the cherries in all departments.
Up the cherries, yeah.
One that I'm sure you're going to touch on maybe tomorrow or maybe possibly Wednesday is the Pathway series. Now that's I think the third part, was it the third part I watched last night?
That's correct, yeah.
Like Malcolm's just said here, it was really good. Thoroughly enjoyed that one yesterday. Have you managed to catch that yet?
Not yet, no. So that'll be a tomorrow update for the Pathway for sure.
Oh, right. Okay, so that'll be further discussed by Craig and Ollie tomorrow. But yes, Malcolm, totally agree. It was a really good one yesterday. And if anyone watching this hasn't watched it yet, definitely do tune into that. It's on the club YouTube channel and AFCB TV, and there's plenty of access to it. And it's a really good insight. Do you know what? I think from what I've seen so far, I would probably describe it as an award-winning documentary. I can see that winning some kind of award because I think it's a great insight. It's filmed fantastically. The interviews are really engaging and interesting. It is a great insight. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out, do give that one. Do give that a watch because, like I say, it's a great documentary. And looking forward to. Like I said the other day, once I've watched them all in the parts, I'm just going to watch them all back to back again. Because watch it all in one hit as well. So yeah, like you just said, Ollie, you'll discuss that a bit further tomorrow with Craig. And in the chat, Nick, hello Nick, how you doing? Glad that you've managed to join us. Hope you're well. Hope you've had a good weekend. But yeah, that kind of wraps things up, doesn't it, Ollie, for today, for the first one of the week. I'm sure you'll be back obviously with the pathway stuff and a few other bits and pieces tomorrow. But it'd be interesting to see probably yourself and Craig in the same room rather than doing it in this format. So, but yeah, just to everybody in the chat, thank you as always for joining us. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate the interaction. We love your views and your points that you make as well. So do please keep them coming. Like I say, Cherry AM will be on Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. So yeah, anyone that wants to get involved as well, yeah, just get in contact with us. Our email address is on the YouTube channel, and we're on the socials as well. And yeah, until the next one then, guys, we shall see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Yes, sir. Up the cherries.
Up the cherries.
TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.